Hey guys, welcome back to the Buff Bistro. And yesterday you learned about the brisket rub, and I let my brisket sit in the rub all day yesterday and all day today. And now I'm going to put on the final bits of fresh ground black pepper and fresh ground Himalayan pink sea salt, which is one of my favorite things ever to use. I use this even in baking. I love to make a cookie that I call pinks. They're amazingly yummy. So there you go. And I'm just going to give this its final coat. If you remember yesterday I said I wanted to cook it with the fat side up, which is actually the other side. And so what I'm doing, you have 3 ways that you can cook this brisket. I'm choosing to cook it with the fat side up so that fat can drip all the way through, but I don't want it to sit in its fat. So I put this little roasting pan over top, or on the bottom, and a little grate here so it can sit on top, but it can drip down into the pan. So I can save those drippings and I can turn that into something later if I decide to. Another way you can do it is to get rid of this and just place the brisket down into the pan and cover it with foil. Or you can put the foil in the pan, put the brisket on, and wrap it really tight. Now that's if you want to kind of speed up the process because it'll kind of heat itself inside there like a little sleeping bag in there. I'm not in a hurry. I really don't need this until Sunday, and I'm going to slice it up and package it to go on our vacation. So I'm going to go with this traditional lower temperature, longer cooking time. I've got my oven set. Actually have it set a little too high. I'm going to set it at 225, and that'll let it cook longer so it'll be a little more tender. Just always remember that. Just like if you're cooking a roast, the longer you cook it at the lower temperature, the more tender the meat's going to be. So here we go. The fat side is really on the bottom, so I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to lay it across this right here. I just want to make sure that my fat side, all my stuff is right there inside the pan so I don't lose any of that. And there's all of these seasonings I can still use. So I'm going to go ahead and just slather it up, these seasonings. You can see how wet it got sitting on itself all night. I'm just going to lather some of that in there. Just like so. This was a terrible shirt to wear today. All along the edges. And I'm going to save some of this because I may want to add some later when I do flip it. So about halfway through the baking, I am going to go ahead and flip it over so it can cook off some of that other side's fat too. And that fat's just going to kind of drip through it and end up in the bottom, but all those flavors should ooze all the way through that brisket. So it will be a little less fat than if it were to cook in its own fat sitting down in it, but it'll still keep all those wonderful flavors. And then I'm going to go, remember I said I wanted to use some fresh black pepper and salt just to really crisp up that super duper yummy fat. Just like that. And it's going to go just like that. And for now, I'm not going to cover it. I'm going to let it get nice and hot in the oven, and then I might give it a cover if I think it's cooking a little too fast. Let me go wash my hands, and I'll be right back. We'll put it in the oven, and we'll start on the barbecue sauce. All right, now I am using this disposable foil pan, mainly because I have a birthday party for my daughter coming up tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and I really don't want to be bothering with more work than I need. Those are things you need to remember when you're planning on doing things in your kitchen. If you have things, absolutely, it's more responsible to be a little more sustainable, but it doesn't hurt anything now and then to make it easy for yourself. Always remember that. The easier, the better. If you want to take care of other stuff, find other ways to do it. So here we go. He's just going to slide it in there. And there you have it. All right, put this over here. Now it's time to go after our barbecue sauce. So all I have is just a regular little saucepan here, and I've got everything measured out. So here we go. I have a half a cup of ketchup and a little more than a tablespoon of mustard. This is a cup of tomato juice. I think ketchup has a little too much sugar for me, and I know it's going to be high fructose corn syrup, or it may be some other random sweetening alternative. I like to use molasses and brown sugar in my barbecue sauce. So I'm gonna give that a little stir. Just gonna see what that was, and that was a cup of the tomato juice. Now this is 3 tablespoons Worcestershire, 3 tablespoons molasses, and 3 tablespoons brown sugar. And I also have in there 2 tablespoons of garlic. So I'm gonna ooze that in there. Some people may like it a little more sweet. Some people may like it not as sweet. Remember, just adjust as you see fit. All right, and then these are kind of the fun spices. I have some minced onion, chili powder, celery seed, salt, and black pepper. All about a teaspoon of each. I'm just gonna pour that right on top. I'm gonna stir it up. So that should give you a pretty good flavor of what you're going for. I don't care to use liquid smoke. Some people like to use liquid smoke to bring that smokiness out, but I don't know, it just tastes funny to me, and so I don't like to use it. That's how that's gonna go. Now here is my magic trick. There are 4 ways you can do this. Most of your barbecue sauce recipes are gonna call for apple cider vinegar. Well, I like to use, instead of apple cider vinegar, if I want a sweeter sauce, I like to use bread and butter pickle juice. Kind of fun, different. You can taste it, it's amazing. If I want a more tart, kind of a sour and zesty flavor, I use dill pickle juice. And then my favorite thing, which is what I'm gonna use since we're taking this and it's just for us, I love to use pickled jalapeno juice. And I have about a quarter cup in here, which is a little more than I probably need. I'm gonna use half to start out. I'm gonna go ahead and pour about half of that quarter cup in there. So 1/8 of a cup. And I'm gonna stir that up and put it on the heat. And I'm just gonna crank that heat up just like that. I'm gonna give it a little taste. And it's very good. So just by tasting it right now, I know that I'm gonna want a little more jalapeno juice because I like it to be kind of spicy. But it tastes really good. And you can, remember like I said with the chicken pot pie, taste everything that you do. If you don't taste it, you're not sure if you're gonna like it. And if you don't like it, you're not gonna eat it, and you're certainly not gonna cook it again. So all you're gonna wanna do is bring this up to a real low boil and then turn it way, way down and let it simmer. Because you really don't want to cook out all of the juice. You want to keep as much juice as you can. But this is just a great, simple, super simple, and it made plenty. This I can put in a jar and I can use for 3 or 4 barbecues at a time. This is a good, way more than you would get at the grocery store if you bought a bottle. So there you have it. I've got my brisket in the oven. It's cooking, and it'll stay in there. You generally do about an hour per pound if you have it on a really low temperature. And that was a 10-pounder, so that's actually 10 hours. So I'm actually gonna let this buddy cook overnight, and then I will have it ready for tomorrow. I'll let it cool, and then I'll slice it up. I think that's all I have for you today. Remember to subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to answer them. Have great ideas for videos, shoot me an email, elizabethagrave@gmail.com, and find me on Facebook. Thanks so much and have a great day.
I think our speakers are blown.